What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be doing some Ultra League battles in rank 9. I'm going to go with the same team again. That's the Articuno Elite, Swampert, and Giratina altered form. So all three of these Pokemon are already in the standard movesets. Articuno with Ice Shard, Icy Wind, and Ancient Power. Swampert with Mud Shot, Earthquake, and Hydro Cannon. Giratina with Shadow Claw, Dragon Claw, and Ancient Power. So first matchup is here against 5 Bear Av 6. And we will be leading the Articuno. Our opponent's going to bring out a Togekiss. So this is a very favorable matchup for us. Togekiss is going to be very weak to these Icy Winds, as well as the quick move damage. Our opponent switches out into a Melmetal. Now, I could have held off on the charge move here, but I did want to lower the attack on this Melmetal before I switched out, so I'm okay with using that energy. I'm going to bring in Swampert, which is going to be a complete wall to the Melmetal. I'm going to go for Hydro Cannons. Earthquake is not necessary in this matchup. Now our opponent is probably going to go for a superpower here. And he should be able to get to another one. But his attack has been debuffed, so I'm not too worried now. And I know that we still have that Articuno in the back for the Togekiss. So he actually gets to a third superpower, and this is going to do very little damage. So he does bring our Swampert into the red, but that's all we needed Swampert for, and we farm down. He brings in the Giratina, so I'm going to go for the Hydro Cannon here, trying to bait out his shield. And now we should be able to get to the Earthquake. Now this Earthquake is going to do about 50% of the Giratina's health if it goes unshielded. And fortunately we do have our own Giratina in the back, which will be able to take care of this Giratina. We have 2 shields to 1. Unless this Giratina gets Ancient Power boosts, we should be fine here. He's going to shield the Dragon Claw, and now we're up 2 shields to 0. I'm going to choose to shield this first Dragon Claw here. Switches out into Togekiss, I'm going to switch back into Articuno. So this is going to be an Ancient Power, it's going to be super effective, so we have to shield this. But we will beat this Togekiss to the next charge move, and Icy Wind is going to do a lot of damage here, and the shields are down as well. This is going to KO the Togekiss. And this Ancient Power will get rid of the Articuno, but we still have Giratina in the back with the Dragon Claw ready, so that's going to be the end of this match. GG's to my opponent there. Moving into the next match against Design 1126. So we're going to go with the Articuno lead again. Our opponent's going to come up with Typhlosion, so this is a very bad lead for us, and we're going to have to switch out. So I'm going to switch into the Giratina and go straight for the Ancient Power. My opponent should shield here, facing a bit of lag. Super effective, so no shield there, very surprising. My opponent's probably going to go for a Blast Burn here. This is not going to do too much damage to Giratina. And we're going to be able to farm down here. My opponent may have thought I was trying to bait him with the Dragon Claw, hence no shield. But in my opinion, that's a bit too risky of a play there with Typhlosion. So our opponent brings in Registeel, and we're just going to try going for the boost here. This situation, Giratina can't win, so your best bet is pretty much to just go for Ancient Power this early on, especially with 2 shields still. If you do get the boost, it could really flip around this match. Registeel's going to use the Flash Cannon. And now we're just going to go for a bit more chip damage before we faint out with some Dragon Claw. And I actually get to another Dragon Claw because this Registeel is really trying to farm, being very aggressive here. And we almost got to another one. Now this Registeel is loaded with energy. We're going to bring back in the Swampert to take this damage. This is not going to be very effective. Well, he goes for the Focus Blast rather, which is the correct move there. You want to go for the Focus Blast over the Flash Cannon. He's going to shield here. And this should be another Focus Blast. We're going to have to shield this. And we should be able to farm down here. He actually switches out into Giratina. We're going to go for the Earthquake. Now my opponent chooses not to shield there. And I'm going to let this go down because I know we have our own Giratina in the back. And I'm going to go for Icy Wind here. This Articuno is pretty much useless against the Registeel, so there's no point to keep it in the back. So we bring it out now. Ancient Power is not going to do too much, and we should be able to get to another Icy Wind. If this match goes as planned, we should be able to get an Icy Wind off on the Registeel. And it looks like our opponent may have decided to leave the match instead. So good game there. And we are rolling right along into the next match against Minat Sun S. So we met with an Alolan Muck in the lead. Now this is a very favorable matchup for us, and we're just going to go for Icy Winds here. Now the book does dictate to shield the first charge attack. I'm not going to do it in this situation. I do expect the Alolan Muck to actually switch out, and I would prefer to save my shields for whatever comes in. Now I go for the Icy Wind, there's no shield there. And this Alolan Muck is actually staying in. This may be a Gunk Shot? No, Sludge Wave. That's going to do a lot of damage. And we're very low now. We're going to go for the Icy Wind here. Actually, if my opponent shields, we may lose switch advantage. But he chooses not to. And we actually get to farm down. So very good for us there. Brings in the Giratina. So that may be why he stayed in with the Muck. He may not have any counters to Articuno actually. We're just going to match him here with our own Giratina. Now his Giratina is going to have the advantage in energy because it came in before ours. And we're just going to go for Dragon Claws. Expect this to be another Dragon Claw. Our opponent would be giving up the lead if he went for Ancient Power. So we go for another Dragon Claw here. And this is a pretty standard, boring matchup. We're actually able to farm down there. And our opponent brings out a Meganium, so he did have something weak to Articuno in the back. And here we're in a very interesting situation because I need my Giratina to beat this Meganium because he has used none of his shields. So I bring in my Swampert as sort of a sacrifice. Basically what I want to do is make this Meganium shield my Swampert's moves. If not, it's going to take a lot of damage, and at that point I could just farm down. But I am not going to win by using my shields here on the Swampert. So now that this Meganium has built up enough energy, I need to take both of these Frenzy Plants and just hope I could farm down the Meganium. My win condition is basically to farm and not use any of its shields. So our opponent actually loses with 2 shields there. GG's. Next matchup is against Frankie Yuhao. And he's going to leave with the Gyarados. So again, another favorable matchup for us. And we are going to go for the Icy Wind. Now surprisingly, we actually don't get the charge attack there before our opponent. I believe there was a bit of lag. We're going to go for the Icy Wind. Now our opponent is running a Dragon Breath variant, so those are going to be resisted by the Articuno. And we get to the Icy Wind here again. And these Dragon Breaths would not be doing anything after 2 Icy Winds. And our opponent brings out an Alolan Muck, so still a very favorable position for us. And we don't have to shield this first Dark Pulse. We will survive and we'll be able to get off an Icy Wind to lower the attack on this Muck. And our opponent uses their first shield. And I get to another Icy Wind. Those Snarls are just not doing enough damage to us. And this Muck is very low in health and very low in attack. Could safely bring in the Swampert here. We'll be able to tank this charge move. It's an Acid Spray. So Acid Spray is kind of not worth it there because even if he debuffs me, I could just switch out and reset those debuffs. So I don't really think this is a smart move. Now at this point, I really thought he was going to go for the Dark Pulse, so I shielded, and he did. So basically he was trying to bait me down with Acid Sprays and then try to KO me with Dark Pulse after lowering the defense. But I didn't go for the bait. And I'm going to go for this Earthquake here, which is going to do a lot of damage if it goes unshielded. Switch into our Giratina. And now we are in a pretty tricky situation. This Giratina does have an energy lead on us. We have a pretty much useless Swampert in the back, which at this point is only a sack swap. Although I do not think our timer is going to reset on time to use it as a sack swap. And this Giratina should be able to beat us to the next charge move. Unless we can farm down, which we do. And the Alolan Muck comes in and it faints. So a very good performance there. And so our next matchup here is against Odran the Wizard. Cool name. And he's going to go with the Gyarados lead again. So back-to-back games against the Gyarados. As we saw in the last matchup, this is a very favorable matchup for us. And we don't really have to shield here, but I'm going to in this case because I'm not sure if our opponent's going to switch out here, but the correct play would be to do so. And just really chipping down the opponent here. These Dragon Breaths are not doing anything. And this Icy Wind is going to KO. I do not expect to shield here. And our opponent actually does shield. But I'm not going to shield this second one. He probably thought he could get our shield here. And that's why he shielded. But that crunch is going to be doing nothing. And he brings in a Clefable. I'm going to try to lower the attack so these charms aren't doing as much damage to whatever I bring in next. Which will be the Swampert. And because our opponent actually switched into the Clefable instead of letting his Gyarados faint, I could safely switch into my Swampert here and not have to worry about being switch locked. And I just almost got to faint it down. Now might be a Psychic, so I'm going to shield that. And I can farm down. That brings in the Gyarados, and these Mud Shots won't be doing any damage, so I have to unfortunately use my energy here. And he shields again, so he must really like his Gyarados for whatever reason. That was a really bad shield though, because I have another Hydro Cannon ready. And I guess he was shielding me because he did not want to face this Swampert with his Alolan Muck in the back. And I tried to switch out into the Articuno to take this hit, but I couldn't. But our Giratina should have enough health to win this match. Even if this Muck does land the Dark Pulse, our Giratina has too much health left, and it's pretty bulky in general, so we'll just have to get off one more Dragon Claw and this match will be over. Now, if he hadn't wasted that shield on that Gyarados, this may have been a lot closer actually, but either way we would have probably still won. Good game to my opponent there. And headed into the next game against Hyang APT. And we are going to be met with a Melmetal, so this is a very bad lead for us. We're going to have to switch out immediately, and we're going to go into the Giratina. I don't want to bring the Swampert because I don't want him to know my direct counter to the Melmetal. And I expect him to possibly switch out here. He's going to bring in the Registeel, so not good for us. We're just going to farm for the boost here, because we're in a very bad situation, and we are switch locked, so not much else I could do but hope for the boost. Now my opponent goes for the Flash Cannon. Just farming. Gonna try to unload these Ancient Powers. No point to really wait. I should just do it as soon as it comes up. Actually haven't got a single boost I believe yet in the Ultra League since it has started, but still early. Now we're just going for the Dragon Claw. At this point we're almost fainted down. Might get to another Dragon Claw, which we do. This Registeel is gonna have a lot of energy farmed up though. And Giratina did a pretty good job actually. We actually get to one more Dragon Claw. He's definitely farmed over 100 energy by now, but it's going to be capped anyways. We actually switch on to the Articuno. I'm going to tank this Flash Cannon. And our opponent switches on to the Melmetal. And the Rock Slide's going to KO. So my Articuno had a really bad matchup there. Unless he has something that's weak to it in the back, so I was okay with sacking it. Opponent goes for the Superpower. This one's going to be debuffed, so I'm not going to shield. And one Hydro Cannon should be enough in this range, especially with the two debuffs. Our opponent chooses to shield though, and he actually gets to another Superpower, so we're going to have to shield this time. Keep our energy, and it was a CMP tie. Now this Hydro Cannon will KO. Opponent brings back out. Actually brings in a Giratina, tries to sack swap there, and he's going to be able to get out this Flash Cannon unfortunately. I'm going to shield, and I couldn't get off the Earthquake. Very, very brutal there. Just took a bit too long to decide what to do, and either way we would have lost, but good game to my opponent there, very well played on their end. And this next matchup is against Mad Dog 2220, and he's going to move a Poliwrath. So Poliwrath is a pretty hard counter to our team, and there isn't really anything I could switch into here that will give me a favorable position. My best matchup is probably Swampert, but I don't really want to switch into that. So I'm just going to play this out and see what happens. Now because he has a Poliwrath, I'm trying to think of what else he might have in the back, but at this point I'm just going for Icy Winds. And here I decide to make a very crucial decision. And that is that I'm going to shield this and hope that he lets this go through so that he gives up switch advantage in exchange for the shield advantage. But he doesn't. And these Mud Shots aren't doing anything, so I'm going to try again and shield and hope that he doesn't shield in return. So my opponent's either going to have to use both shields and win switch advantage, and will be even in shields, or he could lose switch advantage but be a shield up. And he decides to keep the shield, and he brings in Venusaur. And I'm not able to get to the Icy one, so Venusaur is going to KO me. But now I get to not have to line up my Swampert with this Venusaur. I could bring in the Giratina, and that's going to draw the switch from him. He brings in the Clefable, and now I could safely bring in my Swampert. So because I used both shields there, and I won switch advantage, I was able to avoid the Venusaur Swampert matchup. And that's very dependent on my opponent actually choosing to not use his other shield. If my opponent had shielded there, then I would have ended up losing that match. Actually, it would have been very close because those mud shots wouldn't have KO'd. I may have been able to KO with the ice shards. I'd have to do some simulations there. But either way, winning switch advantage there was very crucial for my team. And now I can bring my Giratina, which is going to be in a very favorable position against this Venusaur. So that was definitely the turning point in this game. And these Frenzy Plants aren't going to do any damage, so I'm going to finish it off here with some Dragon Claws. So this matchup was a good example of how like sometimes you just have to make like really quick decisions in the moment and just sometimes hope they pay off. So I believe this is our final matchup against King 2016. King with a lot of eyes. So this is a Charizard lead. Again, this is one of the worst matchups for Articuno. And I'm choosing to stay in here because I actually don't know why. This is a really dumb decision. But my opponent, for some reason, actually switches out of that matchup. And I'm not sure why. Because he switches to Swampert, which is still a very favorable matchup for me. Maybe he wants to save the Charizard for late game or something, but that was a very critical mistake, I feel. And turns out that we were playing a game of chicken, I guess. Which doesn't really make sense, but he left, put me in a very favorable position, and now I could pretty much just go to town on this Swampert. He actually has used both his shields already. I'm up a shield. I got past the Charizard, and I KO'd his Swampert. And he brings in the Giratina. So I have my own Giratina in the back, and I'm up a shield. And my Swampert's going to be able to meet up with that Charizard in the last matchup. So this is pretty much a lock at this point. So maybe my opponent didn't know that Charizard won there. Maybe the Charizard only had Dragon Claw. Might not be a Community Day one. Not sure. Maybe Air Slash. And here I'm going to shield just because I know my Swampert can handle the Charizard. So I'm just going to get rid of this Giratina once and for all. And this Charizard can do whatever it wants to this Giratina. It's going to be in for a nice surprise when that Swampert comes in. And this actually looks like a wing attack Charizard with Flamethrower, so it's a legacy Charizard. And that may be why he decided to switch out. I think he would still win in that situation, but I'd have to sim it. Anyways, if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what teams you want to see in the next video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care.